Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
OB all good in the world right now. We had a little football press conference.
Yeah.
Made it feel closer than it really is. And then in a couple of days, it'll still feel like it's 8-9 months away.
Yeah. Look, it's always good to talk about football and, you know, hear from the head coach.
Yep.
I guess it's kind of why I'm glad we had the presser, but why yesterday?
Just the spring season starting.
But the spring season's still about a month away, right?
Yeah, but I think they're about to lay out the schedule. And I think he said in the beginning of it, I hadn't talked to you guys since, the Miami game, I think it was. So we just wanted to, circle back. Oh, no, he did talk after signing day. So that was before the Miami game.
Yeah, I think it was. I know he's done a lot of national things.
Yep.
Because I've seen him on podcasts on YouTube. So maybe it was like, hey, I need to talk to the local guys too. I mean, appreciate that he did because I always wanted an opportunity to update what's going on with the program.
Yeah. No, it was good to hear from him. He had some really good stuff yesterday. I felt like there's topics that we can chew on a little bit today in the next few days as we get a little closer to football season, but still obviously a long ways away. What was the mantra, the theme last season?
Finish. I guess that's why. Never mind. I've already messed up the joke because the name Theo left.
Finish.
It felt slighted as a Swede. No, finish was the mantra last year, and it's changed.
It has changed. I mean, hopefully it's still part. It's just you add a layer to the finish.
Yeah.
And now it's consistency
and urgency.
An urgency on each play, an urgency at the end of the season, a consistency that lasts all season long. We're going to hear from Coach Elko in a minute, but I believe this to be the case. I know others will argue, but I believe that A&M at their best last year was one of the best teams in college football.
Well, and Coach Elko echoed that yesterday. He said that at our best, we were as good as any team in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree with that too.
Now, skeptics, naysayers will say, against normal teams, but not when you played elite defenses.
Well, Notre Dame, I don't know if there was elite defense, but that was a team that a lot of people felt like should have been in the playoff. And Notre Dame, like A&M, had beat a team that played for not like A&M, but Notre Dame had beaten a team that played for the national championship, and they did not.
No, they lost them.
But they played, okay, like A&M.
They played them tight.
That's where I'm trying to go. Played this game that came down to the wire against a team that played for the national championship. It's funny how everybody wants to forget that game.
Yeah, and I remind folks that take Indiana, put them on this pile here, all right? Because the way they finished the season was ridiculous. But Ohio State, all these titans in college football, all their games, they had, they didn't beat particularly great teams on their way to a national or a playoff run.
Indiana had like almost a miracle finish.
Yeah.
To beat a bad Penn State team.
Correct. So what I like to do, and I think you're the same way, eyeball test. I can see when it looks good and when it doesn't, right? And there were games against what they did to LSU.
2 years in a row, by the way.
Let's make it 3.
No, but 2 years in a row after they beat LSU, they weren't the same team.
Yeah.
I wonder what to make of that.
That's a good question to ask.
I just thought of it last night when I was watching, I have no life, right? So I go in and I will watch sometimes, I'll see something, I'll say, I want to go back and look at this game and whatever. And I was thinking, because I was looking at their game against LSU from 24, and then I was thinking, oh, you know, it was
the same thing.
And then they lost, and it's like,
well, maybe because LSU the last couple of years has been in October, and then you got November, and A&M historically has been bad in November. But this year they play them in September, so let's hope their season doesn't tank after LSU, because that's a long ways to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's listen to Coach Elko as he breaks down the consistency, and urgency motto for Aggie football this year.
When we were at our best, we were as good as anybody in the country. We had not the ability to be there all the time, right? And that's just where we came up short. We weren't able to hit those marks consistently all the time. And then certainly down the stretch in the last 2 games when we needed it, we weren't able to. And so, last offseason it was about finishing and making sure that we finished the right way. I think this year it's a little bit more about, consistency and urgency have been the 2 words that we've really used a lot in the room. And so I think that applies to Marcel. I think there were times where you saw him play quarterback at an elite level, and there were times where he didn't. And I think how we get him to be urgent and consistent in his performance week in and week out, that's the next step for him and everybody in our program.
I think that is, so the question was about Marcel. Mm-hmm. He made it about the team and then brought back Marcel back in. And I agree. There were times Marcel played like an elite quarterback, and the last 2 games of the year he did not.
And going into the game against Texas, Marcel was every bit, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, and it wasn't just being said here, it was being said in national podcasts, and even on TV, when they put this Heisman voters on like a telecast of a game, or Heisman leaders, you'd see Marcel's name in there.
Yep.
I think I wonder if the whole pressure, if that's, or, just the buildup, if pressure is the right word, of being in a Heisman race, didn't have some effect on him last year.
I remember right around the South Carolina game, it was before or after, going to a basketball game at Reed Arena. I forget who it was. It Prairie View that they played early on?
Well, there's one of them, yeah.
Okay. And Marcel was sitting in the crowd, and it was like there was more attention on Marcel than the basketball game at one point, as people were coming up to him and taking pictures.
Yeah.
Right. And I can just imagine, because I was at the what's the word I'm looking for? The peak.
Acme, crescendo.
There you go. Of his season, of his fame, his popularity, and people left and right were coming up to him. And I can just imagine that at an Aggie basketball game, at a restaurant, where you're the center of attention, what that can do to you. And I'm not saying that's why he played poorly at the stretch. And by the way, he wasn't the only one. I don't think the offensive line played as well. The running game wasn't as good. The defense, I think, was as good.
The defense played well in the last 2 games.
Well, except they couldn't stop the running game for Texas at all.
No, but...
And Fletcher ran all over them, too.
And especially... But you know what? They had 3 points.
Yeah.
With 2 minutes to go in the game, or 3 minutes. They had 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he got off the long run, which has always been the Achilles heel.
The Texas game, though, they couldn't stop the run. Especially in the second half.
But they still scored 27, and they did a good job on Arch as far as a passer, except for one play. Now, Arch ran the ball effectively, so yeah, they could have been better on defense. But I still think they could have won that game if Marcel had played better, and if A&M could kick a field goal,
A&M kick
in
a
a
field
game
goal,
like that, every point counts.
But their ability to run the ball in the second half kept.
It sure did. It was a problem.
But anyway, consistency and urgency, and I hope they have that on these workouts right now. A couple other points that I wanted to hear from Coach Elko, because you had a follow-up, which I think was a great follow-up about what he expects for this year, how many guys going to the Combine. I asked him about 13 guys going to the Combine, and I took part of his answer, not the entire answer, where he talks about not only is this the expectation, But now we've got to continue to develop it and be the norm. Here's Coach Elko on the combine.
Hopefully that capitalizes in the draft where it projects that we'll have more kids drafted than we've had since 1971. Those are all tremendous indicators of the talent we're bringing into the program, the NFL development that's happening in the program. I think all of that, the retention, I just think those are good markers for everything that we're doing. And then, the next step of being a really good program is that's got to be every year. Right, and so that's got to be, if you look around the country at the teams that are really good, really consistently, that's the markers, and then they all leave and the next wave steps up, right? So that at this time next year, we're talking about double-digit kids at the combine, potentially double-digit kids getting drafted, and that's the need for kids to step up, fill roles. It's why you have to go out and get some older guys from the portal. And obviously we lost a lot of talented players, and for us to be the team we want to be next year, there's got to be a lot of development this offseason to get there.
Billy and I spent some time yesterday on the hour with him talking about combine transfer portal players that Coach Elko helped develop. And I want your mind to go back to a year ago today, before spring practice. Would you have expected Nate Borkature to get an invite to the combine?
No, I didn't even know who Nate Borkature was.
I think Cronover we would have expected. I feel like he was talked about last year at this time. Maybe I would have been a little surprised in February, but I think that was kind of known that he had an NFL body.
No doubt, NFL body. None whatsoever.
KC?
Yeah, like I said, I saw that game against Clemson, and when he's at NC State, so, okay, this guy's special.
Okay. Chase Basantis we would have expected, correct? Cassius Howell, last year at this time.
At this time, I would have said I don't know, but I guess I had not been told yet. I always go back to that conversation I had with Colin Klein when he just said Cassius Howell's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think we would have expected him to be an NFL player, maybe not talked about in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Okay, Will Lee.
Oh yeah.
Tyler Onyenim.
I didn't know much at this time about Tyler Onyenim.
Okay. I think I would have expected Armage to get drafted a year ago.
Yes.
2 years ago, would I have? I don't know.
I think he came in here and helped make the A&M offensive line better immediately.
Yep.
So that.
But before we saw, like, when he came from Kansas initially, I don't know if I was thinking of him as an NFL player.
Oh, so you say 2 years today. Yeah, I wouldn't have had an opinion.
Albert Regis, I think a year ago I would have expected him.
Yeah, because I thought the previous year, I thought he was A&M's most consistent defensive lineman.
Scooby, I don't think I would have thought of him. I mean, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm still not.
Torian York, I don't think I would have thought of him as an NFL player, maybe because of his size per se.
That's kind of
right, but he got invited. And Trey Zune, I think we would have expected. So a few of those guys,
Zune for sure,
we didn't expect to be talking about them. And we're talking about some older players. This year's team, a lot more younger players are having to step up. So I don't know, like when you asked him about how many people he expects, he says he needs to go through spring practice to really get a good feel.
How do you have a feel on what you have with your roster? Because I didn't think he's going to say, oh yeah, we got 10 players.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now, as far as guys with a chance to play in the NFL, and basically that combine and even getting drafted just gives you a chance. But I would say the guys off the top of my head, Reuben Owens is going to have a chance to play. Mario Craver's going to have a chance to play. Naboo probably gets a chance. Marcel's going to get a chance. Horton, I've only seen him play for Alabama and Miami.
Yep.
He's going to get a chance. So see, I just said 5 right off the top of my head. DJ Hicks is going to get a chance.
There you go.
Des Ricks is going to get a chance.
That's 7.
Yeah, and now I haven't seen.
Did you say Craver?
I did. I haven't seen Coney play yet, in person, and but I've seen Damian Sanford, and I don't think he's ready yet, but I think he's the guy that's going to get a chance, right?
Houston Thomas. I think Houston Thomas is going to get a chance.
Dalton Brooks, I've said before, if he improves his tackling, he'll play in the NFL for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I still think that and you know what? I hope they have like 15 guys that you can look at and say, or more, that says these guys have a real chance to play in the NFL, and I hope only about 7 of them are in the draft next year because I like keeping the guys that play multiple years for me.
So
who are good players.
Through some of the names that you said, I was looking up just making sure that I had some of the roster in front of me to just kind of go through it. Did you say offensive lineman at all?
I said Naboo.
Naboo, okay. Because I think some of the new guys they brought in could be, right? So there's
but I don't know. And I know he talked really highly about Formby yesterday and how he thinks he's a lot like Trey Zune and that he's an elite right tackle. So if you really feel that way and we think that Trey Zune is for sure an NFL player, and he says, I say a lot of Trey Zune, and you make that comparison, then it stands to reason that you think Formby is an NFL caliber prospect.
This is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and we call this the Go Hour.
And it's brought to you by the warehouse at CC Creations.
I did most of the lifting there, but I'll let you get
you did. Well, it figures you do more lifting than I do.
And so we've done the hour. We have, well, we're typically hanging out over there. The holistic planning.
But the holistic cool zone travels. That's one of the things that's cool
air
about
travels,
it.
right?
Yeah.
I watched a video on the flat Earth.
Okay.
I don't believe it, but it was compelling information. No, I don't believe it, but it was just like it was like
that's been proven.
Oh, it's been proven many times.
I'd always say if it's flat, then how when you see a ship disappear over a horizon and then it comes back?
Yeah, your boy Neil deGrasse Tyson, whatever his name is.
He's my boy.
Yeah, right.
Who is he?
Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's how you say his name, right? Dr.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse. DeGrasse?
DeGrasse.
Okay. There's an I there, though, right? Is it silent?
No.
Oh, it's just grass.
There's an E at the end.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyway, this guy.
I don't know how we got here from holistic planning. Cool travels. Oh, by the way, speaking of
flat Earth,
I'm not a flat earther.
Okay.
I believe it's round.
All right.
And there's aliens apparently, but we'll talk about that some other time.
A lot of illegal ones.
If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can call us up. Here comes the text. 3, 2, 1.
The Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, and it's all legal.
And you can press *67 when you call in, so you can block your number, and you can text the show on the
Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line
979-693-1150. Somebody who's never done anything illegal, Nick Savage, the choir boy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, y'all. I don't know how to follow that up. I don't believe in any conspiracy theories. I don't think so. I don't have anything for you there.
So you don't believe? I was going to go November 22nd, 1963 in you, but we're not going to go there.
JFK?
Yeah. You don't believe any of those conspiracy
theories? You don't think there was a conspiracy theory?
You don't believe in so you think the magic bullet is real? That's what you're saying.
To be honest, I haven't dove far enough into the JFK assassination to know, so I'm not going to comment.
The movie with Kevin Costner, JFK, pretty good.
It was a good movie.
Pretty good. Hey, how about you tell us something sports-wise?
I just thought it was neat, and maybe y'all can tell me, we're not used to having coaches, I guess, this early kind of go comprehensively into their roster like Coach Elko did yesterday and the guys he brought in. I don't remember Jimbo doing that much.
Well, hold on. He did not want a list. Was it Rob who tried to, hey, I'm going to list every player in America. And Coach Elko's like, no, we're not doing that. He didn't say that. He said, can I ask you a couple of players?
I remember him
they
saying
have
that.
25 guys in the portal or something like that.
But then the strategy is if everybody does one or two, then we get those 25.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's what they did yesterday.
Pretty much.
They did the old switcheroo on Coach Elko.
Yeah, I got down to the running backs.
Yeah, I do like that he is very transparent.
He seems to be an honest guy.
Yeah.
Right? And he makes us, again, appreciate making himself available. Not all coaches will do that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson did not know he was doing the Social Center, but he's got a big smile on his face.
I mean, I love being back here, or I guess up here instead of back there. But
when you got the call, did you immediately pick up your phone and text or call mom and dad?
There was no call. I was sitting back there making graphics.
Well, I know it wasn't a call, but I was just using that as a.
Did you let any family know?
Like a relief pitcher.
A couple weeks ago, Nick got the dates mixed up and thought that day
Cooper,
was when I needed to be.
You just put me on blast.
You just put him on blast.
This is your last segment today.
What a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy
I texted them a couple weeks ago, I'm going to be on, and then I was like, oh, wait, that's not today. And then we forgot that today was actually that day I needed to be on, so I didn't let any of them know. They're going to go back and watch it. Sometimes that's what they do. They're a busy family, so they usually aren't on here in the morning, unfortunately.
his father is in the media as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Used to be. He's a full-time pastor.
Full-time pastor now. He did a podcast and a radio show on 97.5 in town. Faith in Sports, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Good old Roger Patterson.
A journalist that became a pastor.
Well, he was a pastor that dabbled in journalism.
I see.
Yeah. And now he's all the time pastoring.
Oh,
That's probably not the right term.
An author.
An author, too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
The Pattersons. Hey, give us something.
So, Aggie outfielder Caden Sorrell was named SEC Player of the Week yesterday after his 10 RBI series during the opening weekend. After a 3-0 start, the Aggies will look to improve to 4-0 tonight at Olson Field at Bluebell Park against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 6 p.m. I want to ask y'all, after his monster performance, we saw all of Caden Sorrell. We know exactly what was going to come from him. I want to ask, who is a player you hope to see stand out tonight or maybe going forward that had a quieter opening weekend?
Well, first of all, if you're...
I don't know if anybody had a quiet weekend, right?
Bear Harrison. I want to see Bear Harrison hit the ball better.
Yep.
Or at all. He had a tough opening. Yeah. Especially opening day.
He got hit twice on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a tough first game, and I know he's better than that.
Yeah.
So look, with the guys they have in the order, and it looks like it's going to be a powerful order. I don't want to overreact to a first series against a team that you know you're going to beat, but I think they're going to have a formidable lineup, and so you hope Bear becomes that guy that can hit double-digit home runs for you.
Is it fair to say I want more from Gavin and from Caden? And I know that they're not under the radar, but both of those guys, because I just want to see those numbers. Like I want to see them competing for some Aggie records this year. I'd love to see that.
I want to see Dewar, and what was the other guy who hit 778?
Oh, Hakopian, who didn't get the. We'll see if he plays.
He didn't play.
Wesley
Jordan, thank you. I want to see all those guys just show us that, look, the guy's not always going to hit 778. In fact, he'll never do that again probably in a series. But I want to, over the course of the season, see these guys that were so good. I mean, we know Caden Sorrell's good. We know Grahovic's good. We want to see them show that it's not, that they weren't just feasting on bad pitching, that these guys can be consistently good.
Feasting, you say?
Speaking of feasting.
Take those mashers to go eat, OB.
Yeah, I mean, they deserve it. So if you're feasting on pitching, then you deserve to feast on brisket, succulent brisket even, and amazing pork ribs. And you deserve to feast on queso mac and cheese. In fact,
I think we underrate it. I don't think we do enough for the queso mac and cheese.
I don't know if maybe when they hit a home run or score a run, the bubbles, maybe they should start throwing out
cheese
some of
bubbles.
that queso mac and cheese, you know?
Just start throwing it all over the field.
That'll make you want to go hit a home run. And the brisket and the sauce, all the things that are so great at 1775. If you can feast on pitching, you deserve to feast on the amazing Texas barbecue at 1775.
If you want to eat really good food, you go to 1775. If not, you don't like food. You hate food if you don't eat at 1775.
And they cook it. It's consistently good, and I attack it
with urgency,
with a sense of urgency.
Sorry, that was good.
That's all right.
1775 TXBBQ.com is the website. Call them up, 979-492-6241. It's 1775.
And it's good.
Bad whistle. TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for the Knockout Performer of the Week. Brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used heavy equipment. OB, you want to make a nominee or two?
Well, we just talked about Caden Sorrell being the SEC Player of the Week. And then I talked about the Jordan kid that hit 778? I mean, that's pretty amazing. What was it in another sport? Somebody had a big week.
Marcus Hill.
20.
I mean, it's hard to say that after they lost.
I think I was thinking about one of the girls.
Well, the girl, yeah. The Aggie women's basketball team had a great weekend. Let's see. I got some notes from here. Fats Jenna recorded her 8th double-double of the year. And Nye Pryor posted her 5th double-double with 13 and 11. By the way, Fats had 16 points and 10 rebounds in their double-digit win over Auburn, not Alabama, 81-63. So they own the state of Alabama.
Well, they had a good week.
Yeah, they did. And finishing up some stats from the baseball players, as we mentioned, Wesley Jordan, 7 of 9, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, batted .778. Caden Sorrell, 9 of 15, 600, 3 home runs, 10 RBI. Boston Kellner, the true freshman, 5 of 10, 5 for 10, 4 doubles, 4 runs, 4 RBI. And I think Aiden Sims deserves a little bit of love.
Yeah, heck yeah, he does.
6
one
innings.
Hitter?
Yeah, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, retired the final 9 batters that he faced. So I think those are all quality performances.
Yeah, and some high quality performance. Quality. You can't have poor quality.
No, you cannot.
You can't. But they definitely high quality performance.
High quality and urgency.
They were consistent.
And they were urgent. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Charean the Dream Williams. But right now we're talking about Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Rollo Insurance is the very best at what they do. They want to make sure that they take care of your home, your auto, your ranch insurance. They're super local. You see them all around town, and they want to take great care of you here. They are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live, and they've been doing it for a long, long time. And obviously, the studio is named after them, the Rollo Insurance Studio. Call Jason Jackson and the team. They'll take amazing care of you. That number again, 888-44-ROLLO. 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk, our dear friend, A&M'er, and Hall of Famer. A&M'er. That's the new one. Have I used that one before?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah,
but it applies.
Hey, Charean, good morning.
Good morning. I kind of like that. A&M are
Hey.
kind of hard to say, but I kind of like it.
So, are you concerned? I'm sure you are a little bit with Aggie men's basketball.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the other day, Saturday, but I was kind of keeping up on my phone, and it didn't sound like it was a real good game. And, as I said last week, that was the one game I thought that you needed to win to kind of turn the tide and stop the bleeding, and the bleeding's still going. They need to find a way to put a tourniquet on it. And the way to do that is get back to shooting the way they were shooting, and they're just not doing that right now. So it happens. Every basketball team hits a slump. They've hit it. They've got to find a way out of it. They've got to find a way out of it quick. So, yes, I am very concerned with the way this is going right now. They've got to win to end this. Wednesday's huge.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, they looked like they were cruising toward the NCAA tournament, and then all of a sudden they've hit an iceberg. So what is your, Charean, what is your, confidence meter that they'll be able to turn around and make sure they get to the NCAA tournament?
I don't know right now. I think I'd put it above 50%, but I don't know how far above 50%, 60% maybe. They had the good run and 6-1, so they, had some room there to play with, but, this stretch just hasn't been good, and if they don't turn out of it very quickly, like Wednesday night, I think I'd go below 50% if they can't win on Wednesday. I just think this is as big of a must-win as there is at this point in the season if you want to go to the NCAAs, and that's kind of what it boils down to. They've got it. I guess what my confidence is they haven't been shooting the three real well, and I think that comes and that goes, and they've had this slump, and I think they can figure a way to work out of that. And if they just start hitting some of those shots that were falling before this stretch, then I think they're back on track and back where they need to be. And the losses really should be more like they were Alabama, where you have a chance to Tennessee, you have a chance to win at the end and getting blown out. It sounds like even the Missouri game, it wasn't that close. Like, you knew Missouri was going to win unless something miraculous happened, and it didn't. So they need to get back to where they're in these games and have a chance to win at the end, if nothing else. But a win is a must on Wednesday night.
Talking to Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. All right, on the other side, let's talk about the Diamond. Great weekend to start off for Aggie baseball.
Yeah, excited, especially the way they started last year and comparing it to this year, and the home runs. Sounds like Sorrell's having a great season so far. Maybe he'll hit over. He stays on that stretch. What is it, 115 home runs or something for the season I saw. So that would be fun. But yeah, they're playing really well, hitting really well, and it's just nice to see them start like that. And hopefully they continue that. I'm going to come to the Texas basketball game next week after the combine. Get back from the combine on Friday and come on Saturday, and baseball actually will be up in Arlington. So I think I'll miss them up in Arlington, but hopefully they play well in that tournament, which will be a big tournament for them to kind of see where they are.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this baseball team, but I think I'm going to have to, like most of us are going to have to wait until we see what we see.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously until they get to that tournament,
right.
Or if it's a tournament or a classic or whatever you call it. But when they play up in Arlington, that's going to be more of a, as we all know, more of a reveal of what this team really is. But like what we're seeing so far. It's like in football, you're supposed to.
There'll be bigger games and bigger teams will really probably know more about this team. But, compared to the way they started out last year, losing the first series, it was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's like in football, when you're playing the overmatched opponents, the good teams just wear them out.
Yep.
And why would not apply to all sports, including baseball? And they had an overmatched opponent, and they wore them out. You know what, Charean, what I was most, I think, encouraged by was the kid Aiden Sims, who threw one hitter over 6 innings in the third game, because I think pitching is ultimately going to be the key to this team.
No question, and that was a great performance, and happy to see it. No matter the competition, that's hard to do what he just did, and so good start for him, and maybe they found something there in pitching. So yeah, pitching's a concern. I mean, we knew that going into the year that's what had to come on, and those pitchers had to develop and play better than maybe we thought they were going to play for A&M to have a chance to do what we all hope they do. So the hitting's going to be there. They got to figure out the pitching. It looks like they've done that a little bit. Let's hope.
Charean, yesterday Coach Elko spoke to the media. We asked him about 13 Aggies going to the Combine. Are you hearing anything from scouts that you talked to about maybe the first 3? You know, Lance Zierlein had them as first rounders a week or 2 ago. What are you hearing about Cassius? What are you hearing about KC? What are you hearing about Chase Basantis?
Yeah, I think all 3 of those are top first or second round picks, which is good, and most Combine invitees of any school, so that's exciting. So I'm excited to get there and talk to some of them, and a lot more than A&M had last year, and it also makes you think, man, this team probably, based on the talent that they had, underachieved a little bit. Maybe they beat Miami, maybe they go to the final if they could get past Miami and that close to it. So, when I heard the number, that was my first thought is, man, I wish we'd done a little bit more with that talent. I wish we'd, at least taken one more step there. So it kind of brought some of those memories of that Miami game and how close we were to winning that, maybe going a lot farther, who knows. But based on what Miami did, certainly had a chance if you could get past Miami at home and go on. But I'm excited to see what they do at the Combine, and excited to see their futures in the NFL. We need more Aggie NFL players. It's always fun to see them in the league playing and doing great things.
It's funny. We would love to see more, obviously, A&M players, but it seems like the ones that are in there, you may not have as many, but boy, do they have high-level ones. You got guys like Super Bowl MVPs.
Yeah.
You got record holders in sacks. You got what is Mike Evans, like the most 1,000-yard seasons? There's some Hall of Famers in there just waiting once they retire, right?
Yeah, well, Larry Yell, as I think most people know, is the only Aggie Hall of Famer who played that is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and there are more coming. We're going to see, Mike Evans, I think, is a Hall of Famer. Miles Garrett's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Von Miller's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So there's a bunch more coming.
Will Lester Hayes ever get in? Or Richmond Webb? Will they ever get in?
I saw a push on Twitter. In fact, yesterday, somebody said, hey, Lester Hayes is the biggest name that's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think in the next few years, he will be one of the senior candidates who will get an opportunity. It's much harder to get in as a senior candidate, but I think he'll have a chance probably in the next 5 years is my guess. I'm on that seniors committee now. So I'm going to push for Lester Hayes, not because of an Aggie. He's an Aggie.
Oh, he was a great player.
I think he's one of the most overlooked players in NFL history. I think he needs to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think Richmond Webb is one of the most overlooked players. He keeps getting to that semifinals and can't get to the final 15. And hopefully we can do something there where we get him to the final 15 and get him in the room to have his case heard, because I think he's got a great case as well.
I bet you if you were talking to people in Seattle, they'd even tell you Jacob Green should be considered.
Yep. Charean, as for Mike, Vaughn, and Miles, are they first ballot Hall of Famers? I know wide receivers sometimes have to wait a little bit. Do you think Mike's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
That's a tough one. They made receivers wait, and my guess is that he's not going to get in on first ballot. And we don't know how much longer he's going to play or how much more he's going to do. But my guess is that he's going to have to wait. Like Michael Irvin was a third ballot, Hall of Famer. And so my guess is he's going to have to wait. Just the way that we have treated first ballot guys, that not a lot of them go in. Larry Fitzgerald, receiver, went in this year, but he ranks in the top 5 in most categories, and Mike's probably not going to be up there. But I was doing my my free agent rankings yesterday, and Mike's a free agent. We'll see where he ends up. May or may not go back to Tampa. My guess is he's not going to go back to Tampa. Maybe has a chance to win another Super Bowl somewhere else and do something great in the playoffs, and that would certainly help his case. As would playing a few more years. He's still relatively young, and he's had some health problems over the last 2 years. But if he could stay healthy, find a way to stay healthy for a full season and put another full season or two together, then I think he's got a much better case. Problem is with him, the All-Pros aren't there, the Offensive Player of the Years aren't there, and things like that you kind of look for. But everything else, the stats and everything else, say he's a Hall of Famer. He will get in. It's just a question of how long it's going to take once he retires, and that 5 years passes that he can go in.
Of all those seasons he's played, how many of them has he played with not just an elite quarterback, but a really high-level quarterback?
3 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's Brady, and Jameis had a great year. One of those years, passed for over 5,000 yards, threw a lot of interceptions, but was very good getting the ball down the field and getting a lot of yards. So I would say the Jameis year probably too. But other than that, Baker Mayfield has been the best quarterback in that rest of that group, and he's not a great quarterback. So. There's something to be said for that for sure, kind of like Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
Charean, great stuff. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Let's talk a little more football, B, shall we?
Love it. Love talking football.
All right, let's imagine a workspace designed for how we work now, not back in the day. We're talking about a collaborative place, inspiring, surrounded by real energy. That is the Lumen at Lake Walk. The Lumen is Bryan College Station's only Class A plus office building with lake views, on-site dining, fitness and conference centers, and amenities, all just steps from the Stella Hotel and everything Lake Walk has to offer. It is a place built for modern business, and it helps attract talent, impress clients, and keep teams energized. And something that Aggies are really going to appreciate is the Lumen is Aggie-owned project developed by William Cole Companies, the same group that brought you Traditions, the same group that brought you to the Stella Hotel and Lake Walk. So if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or looking for your next headquarters, family office, this is where innovation meets lifestyle. Now leasing at the Lumen. Learn more at lakewalktx.com. That is lakewalktx.com. The Lumen. Time to end the day with Double Days. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Days. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledays.com, and your favorites are on their way.
What a pro's pro.
Thank you.
You know, he goes out to get coffee, and he's coming in. He's not even at the desk. I could never do that. In fact, I can barely do this.
Olin, you know I'm a robot.
No.
Everything in my life is like chicken and broccoli. I wake up at 4. I'm just a robot. I just do things. So I'm a weirdo.
Well,
I've done that spot 1,012 times. I bet you Gabe could still do it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm just saying.
And Gabe could do it with like better memory, with more content.
Gabe, I'll say this. I know he's listened. Gabe, the thing that always impressed me most about Gabe was this incredible retention of knowledge.
I'm jealous of that.
And I'll forget what I had for breakfast.
Yes. I don't even know if I ate breakfast. I am jealous of his brain, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm more jealous of his bank account.
I'm more jealous of your flow. Look at that Flow B hair. Look at that.
You know, I prefer it short, but Irma loves running her fingers through it. So, you know, you do what you got to do.
I might be growing my hair out again, too.
All right.
Elizabeth thinks it makes me look old, the short hair. She didn't say that directly. But her comment was, she's like, I just love your youthful, longer hair.
Youthful? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you think I look old?
Well, why are you going to go there?
Youthful? Longer hair?
Long hair may be youthful.
Yeah.
Maybe you look...
My kids all think I look younger, short hair. My wife, and I think I got to make my wife happier than my kids.
Well, yes, that is...
This is the year 50, yes. Right? So I've got to do everything I can to stay looking a little younger.
Well, I don't think that...
Botox for everybody. Let's go.
You know what? I've heard of Botox. I don't even know how they apply it.
It's a little needle. Bing.
That's what they do.
Bing, bow. I don't know why I made that noise. Sorry. It's embarrassing. Yeah. There's little needles into your face. Into your skull. Into your cranium.
And it is...
Apparently it rids you of migraines. It can.
If I was going to do anything, and I'm not, but it like plastic surgery, I'd get liposuction, you know, to suck out all this fat that I can't.
I thought you were going to get butt implants.
No, I'm fine there.
You are?
Yeah.
You like the catwalk? You're on TexAgs?
Y'all want to see?
Please do it. Please. Just okay. All right. This is a waste of a segment. Let's go to Cooper Patterson at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. All right, catwalk. Sorry, that's him, not you.
Y'all said y'all wanted to talk some football, and we had a great text. 214 number, not sure who it was, says, talking point, Marcel pressure. Being put in a position to fail is how leaders are made. It should serve him well moving forward. He is a smart athlete.
I think there are...
What was the first line? Read that again.
He said, Marcel pressure. Being put in a position to fail is how leaders are made.
Was he put in a position to fail?
Well, there was more pressure as the season. Yeah. The more success you have, the more pressure builds.
I agree with that.
Look, I think there's a process to becoming great. Very few just show up and they're great. And look, I was there in Austin when Vince Young couldn't throw a pass, a decent pass, till his junior year when they won. So I've seen the progression at other places too. I would expect Marcel to be better. He was better last year than he was the previous year, and I would expect him to be better next season than he was last season.
All right, we're going to hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Live, Olin Buchanan is going to go upstairs and work. That's what he does. JB Moss is joining us. Joni Taylor is joining us. And we'll talk a little bit more football. Justin Lanham at 10 o'clock. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find our guy, JB Moss, former Aggie great, talking a little Aggie baseball. JB, what's up, buddy?
David, what's going on? How we doing?
It's good, man. It's been too long. I'm glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I always enjoy it.
All right, so what do we get this weekend? 45 runs, 8 home runs, a sweep, some pretty good pitching. What was your takeaway from this weekend?
Yeah, man, I was super impressed. Specifically offensively, I thought it looked like a team that had an identity and had an approach and, was very committed to sticking to that, whether it be the free bases or, the lack of strikeouts or, the homers. I mean, it was all around very impressive offensively, and I was just really encouraged to see that, especially after some frustration from last year.
I don't want to make too much of this, but I was told about a shift in Coach Early's, he just looks more confident. And I don't know if confidence is the right word. He just is sure of what he's doing. Are you getting that same vibe?
Yeah, for sure. He definitely looks more confident and more sure of himself. And listen, we've all heard it before, whether it's hosting a radio show or coaching baseball or being a salesman, there's nothing like experience. And, I'm sure you're better at your job this year as opposed to last year because of your time in the saddle. And I think the same applies to Mike. And by all accounts, he's a great coach and a great guy. And I really hope it works out for him and for A&M.
Talking to JB Moss here on TexAgs Live. JB, let's talk about Caden Sorrell. We know he's the guy, right? Like last year when he played, he was phenomenal. He's already started off this season great. This guy is headed towards some real legendary status in A&M baseball history.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's important. I think we can all be a little prisoner of the moment. I'm not saying that's 100% the case with Caden. I just think that, we tend to get real excited real early, and that's normal. But I agree with you. I think that the most impressive thing about Caden to me is his ability on both sides of the baseball. And what I mean by that is him offensively, man, is just electric. Like he has so much twitch in his swing, and it's a beautiful swing, and he controls the strike zone well, and he hits extra base hits. It feels like every time he puts the ball in play, it's just a hard hit ball. But then defensively, man, he's so fun to watch out there. He looks like he has complete control over the grass, and whether it's a diving catch or up against the wall, I mean, he seems real comfortable, and he's certainly a playmaker on both sides.
Yeah, he certainly is. A guy that we didn't do enough time talking about on this show was Wesley Jordan. And I'm not expecting him to have the weekend he had for the remainder of the year. But, if you're a casual and hadn't heard of him, you certainly know of him now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And what I really enjoy is a true designated hitter that has power. You can kind of get stuck in college baseball where a guy may be a good contact hitter and they can't find a position for him. And, you'll say he can hit, so we'll just DH him. I really like the more traditional DH where you've got, a guy that can hit cleanup and a guy that's got, a lot of power and ability to hit extra base hits. So that was really encouraging to see. And he was just, one cog in the line that was super impressive, and really excited to have him this year.
JB, I expect for Shane Sadeo to be better, but he was really good considering it's been a couple years and, 614 days, I guess, to be exact. What did you think of his debut this year?
I agree 100% with you, David. I expect more out of Shane only because of how good he's been, prior in his career. I thought he got hit around just a little bit. But, it is super important for us to keep in mind how long he has been out from a competitive mound. It's hard to expect more from him. What no one has talked about enough is 5.1 innings pitched, Shane Sadeo, 0 walks. That's a huge stat. And just to follow that up, the whole staff, they only had 5 walks on the weekend. Just the ability to dominate the strike zone and to throw strikes, those things travel. I've heard a lot of people talk about, being cautiously optimistic. And I certainly understand that after last year. But if you're paying attention, these are things that you saw in the first weekend that travel no matter who you're playing. And that's throwing strikes, taking care of the baseball, controlling the strike zone offensively. So it certainly got me super excited for this year.
Well, a couple points. Last year, the team struck out a lot. And I know some of their more successful teams always did that too. But last year, It was different. And they walked a lot. This past weekend, didn't strike out as much and didn't walk anybody. So, at least for one weekend, a lot of progress in some of the issues from the year prior.
Yeah, 100%, no doubt. I mean, when you're talking offensively for Texas A&M, they had more free bases than strikeouts on the weekend. That is huge. And then, like I said, on the mound, only 5 walks over, 25 innings. So, I mean, that is just super impressive on both sides of the baseball. And like I said, those two things can carry regardless of your plan.
Do you remember your first at-bat, your first game as an Aggie, and what you were thinking, what you were feeling?
I can't remember. Yes, I do remember it. I can't remember who we were playing. I think it was on a Saturday, the second game of the season, my freshman year. I got a pinch hit opportunity late in the game. And David, when I tell you I completely blacked out, I completely blacked out. Like, I was so nervous. I remember shaking in the box. And, it's hard to replicate, man, especially, my situation. I was a small town kid from Tyler, and, then you jump to the SEC and you're playing in front of thousands of people. It takes some adjustment and getting used to, for sure. And that's part of the reason you and I talk every year about what the freshmen do. Just to be able to do it at a young age, I always really respect and admire those guys, just because it took me a while to get comfortable in that setting.
Well, I was told Illinois Chicago is where you made your debut. So our crack staff in the back, Nick Savage, found that out real quick.
He's a stud. Thanks for that, Nick.
Hey, it's what's been fun, and I know this is a proud program for years, right? We're talking decades, but freshmen every year seem to be like, oh, okay, let's go. If it was Jace a couple years back, what Caden's done, what Gavin's done, like every year it seems like, and this year we'll see what it turns out with Nico in Boston, but great debuts for their opening weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Nico's stat line, quite honestly, leaves a lot to be desired, but I think there's more to it than that. I mean, look, man, like I just said, being able to play at all, more or less start as a true freshman, I just have so much respect and admiration for guys that are able to do that. And I think it's a couple things that we see across the big three sports, David. I think if you look at athletes nowadays, they're so physically developed. It's crazy. You see 18-year-old kids on campus, and they're so big and strong and physically developed. And then I think with the travel these years, I just think that they're so used to playing such high competitive baseball that they're not intimidated, and they've seen this kind of pitching before. So I'm certainly looking for great things for Boston and for Nico this year. To be able to start two true freshmen on the left side of the infield is really unheard of, and honestly not something you love to hear. But when you hear about the mental makeup of these guys, you can't help but be excited about their futures.
What was travel ball like at your age when you were a kid, middle school, high school? Like how much has it evolved since those years?
Well, I can't speak to that because I don't know what exactly it looks like today. It just seems like kids are doing much more things nationally. I was a small town kid from Tyler who played on a select team out of Dallas, so I had to drive 2 hours just to get to practice and just to get to regional tournaments, I would call it. A lot of our games and travel was just in the state of Texas. Back this was 15 years ago. And I just feel like, whether it's Perfect Game or these showcases, I just feel like kids are able to get exposed to more things at an earlier age.
Talking to JB Moss here on TexAgs Live. JB, a little different, but I feel like Aiden Sims' performance on Sunday, not like Shane's, but I think he's going to be better too. But, I mean, when you give up one hit, strike out 7, and you have the command that he had, I think, if that's your Sunday guy, you're in really good shape.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And I believe he's a true sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember him from last year. That's very normal for a freshman. But I couldn't be more impressed with him. His first start on a Sunday, more strikeouts than innings pitched, only 2 walks, a batting average of .053. I mean, they just weren't hitting him. And his ability to throw multiple pitches in the zone for strikes is what was most impressive to me. He's got a wipeout slider, man. I heard Bronny talking about it. The spin rate is elite, and if he can throw 2 or 3 pitches for strikes, that's really all you want out of a Sunday guy. Someone you can count on to, eat up some innings and fill up the zone. So super impressed by Aiden, and I think he's going to have a really great year for us.
Well, and I want to read this because I'm looking at his bio on A&M's website. 6 appearances last year, 3 starts on the mound, 13 strikeouts, 13 innings, picked up his first collegiate win, 2 scoreless frames against Sam Houston. This is a guy that's didn't pitch very much last year and has been thrust into a big role.
Yeah, for sure. And they always say the biggest jump comes between your freshman and sophomore year. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier, just getting your feet wet. And there's so much more to it than baseball when you're a freshman. Like, where do I go to class? How do I do laundry? How do I, you got to figure out how to be an adult. And there's just something about that second year where, you just feel more comfortable and you let your true talent take over. So that's certainly what I expect out of Aiden this year. When you've researched this team and talked to guys, what do you think? Are they going to be a mashing type team, the kind of team we saw in Schloss's first year? Like, what do you expect this team to be in 2026? Well, I think they're going to be really, really, really good offensively. Look, man, they've got some superstars offensively. Caden, Gavin, Hakopian. I mean, those are big-time names. I mean, there's not a lot of lineups. You can go throughout the entire country. There's not a lot of lineups that have, potentially 3 first-rounders in the same lineup, and that's unheard of. And that really speaks to Mike. I mean, look, we need to give credit where credit's due, and his ability to retain these players, to get, Chris here, he did a great job in getting these 3. And, that's not even talking about the true freshmen that are super impressive, and TK is a sophomore. I think offensively they're going to be really, really good. And yes, to answer your question, I think they're going to mash. I think they're going to hit lots of extra base hits. I think it'll come down to how well they control the strike zone. I think they're super talented enough to where they're going to get their extra base hits regardless. I think if this team can maintain an identity offensively and control the strike zone, I truly think they could be one of the best in the country. And then on the mound, I think just dominate the zone. I mean, that's certainly what we saw out of 3 games. And if they can do that, I think they're going to defend well enough to where they'll be really successful if they continue to dominate the zone on the mound. What do you need to see? And I don't know, maybe you're going to have to wait till they go to Arlington, but what do you need to see and I don't want to say go all in because you're going to be all in regardless, but like to really feel like, okay, this team has a chance to compete in the SEC differently than we thought entering this season? Yeah, I think I'm really confident in what I see offensively. I think taking care of the baseball would be number one. How do those true freshmen to continue to develop on the left side of the infield? I think that's a huge key. And then the second key would just be the evolution of the starting pitching. I think Shane and Weston got hit around just a little bit. I would be pretty surprised if it continued at that rate. So just the Friday and Saturday starters continuing to evolve, and then some bullpen depth. I mean, Clayton Freshcorn looked elite this weekend. I think that was a big development, but just some pieces behind him. Josh Stewart didn't even throw. So I think the bullpen development, throwing strikes and controlling the strike zone and playing good defense is what I want to see. Well, I want to talk about Josh for a second because we didn't even get to see him very much last year. If we get the Josh Stewart that we saw during their run in Omaha a couple years back, what can that say for that bullpen? Well, it's a wipeout pitch in the slider with Josh Stewart. He can throw it in any count. He can throw it 0-0. He can throw it for 2, with 2 strikes. He can throw it for a strike. He can throw it for a ball. And being able to have a wipeout off-speed pitch is really what you want to see in the back end of the bullpen. So his ability to throw the fastball, throw the slider for a strike, that's why you trust that guy in high-leverage situations at the end of the ball game, because he can throw multiple pitches for strikes. So I definitely want to see Stewie get out there, hopefully tonight. And I just want to see him confident. I want to see him healthy, make sure that knee looks okay. And then, I think he's a trusted option at the back of the game that, will be huge for this team. The great J.B. Moss, when are you coming to town, buddy? I'm on the calendar for some TV with our friend Will Johnson and then some radio with Monaco. So I'll be seeing you guys probably come conference time. So looking forward to it and definitely be in studio with the baseball bunch. Yeah, let's do that, man. Can't wait to see you here in studio, buddy. Appreciate you. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. You too. J.B. Moss here on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his time. And
what I love about JB is he doesn't sugarcoat it. He's like, yeah, hey, let's not get carried away with, giving out legendary status. But yes, Caden Sorrell has the ability to be in that mix. And when I watch Caden Sorrell play ball, and Nick, help me out here, it just seems like when healthy, and you have to use the word when healthy, the guy just delivers and delivers. When he got into the lineup a couple years ago, he started delivering. Last year, when he got back from injury, he was not the reason, a huge reason that the season turned around.
Yeah, and you hear Bronny say this all the time. It's a game of baseball. There's ups and downs, so he's obviously not going to stay at this pace all season long. We all understand that, but I mean, we know what we're going to get from him. He's a masher. He's the biggest bat in the lineup, and if, like you said, if he can stay healthy, it's going to be a really, really fun offense to watch.
For me, is what version of Shane Sadeo do we get throughout the season? He's not the only question I have pitching wise, right? Like, does Aiden Sims continue to develop? How strong is the bullpen? Sure. But if you get Shane Sadeo from a couple years back with that offense, and I'm going to keep adding, points and this and that, and you get great defense, because defense was a huge issue last year, then again, if you can't do this, but I'm doing it, Nick, I'm pulling a Nuño. You can't, but you will. Take away Missouri. What I think A&M turned their season around in SEC play.
Yep,
right.
I agree.
Was it after the no-no? Right, like after that, it just seemed like things started going great for A&M.
Yep.
And then they didn't. So anyway.
They did, but they did.
They did, but they didn't. But I do know this: nobody wanted to play them in the postseason.
Yeah, won a few games in the SEC tournament, but just came up short.
Yeah. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back, talk to Joni Taylor. Right now, when it comes to your financial decisions, having the right advisor makes all the difference in the world, and that's why we're talking about Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas, focused on advice, not commissions or sales quotas. They have a team of 18 professionals. They have 8 CFPs and a CFA, and that level of experience helps ensure that your plan is built with care, clarity, and long-term perspective. Visit paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Hey, everybody. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program, working on getting Joni Taylor on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Let's start off, though, at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson, got some comments coming on the YouTube TexAgs Premium chat?
Yeah, so I got a chat from Calvin. Calvin had a long discussion. I can't remember who he was having it with, somebody in the TexAgs chat. But it was basically about Elko's new updated contract, and I think some quick clarity could help. I also am a little confused about it. So it was just announced yesterday an updated contract, 6 years, $69 million. Is that the same extension we saw earlier in the season, like the morning of the South Carolina game, or is this a completely new?
I believe that's what it was.
Deal?
Yeah. I think it's just more specifics of the contract. Let's go to the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Joni Taylor joining us to talk a little Aggie women's basketball. Joni, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So big time win this Sunday, 81-63. Let's what was so different on Sunday? Like it was just, beginning to end was great.
No, it was a great win for us. It was another chance for us to protect home court, second win in a row in Reed Arena in front of our fans. So it was amazing. In terms of what was different, I think we're just continuing on the path that we're on, which is to come to practice every day with fresh eyes, work hard, and get better. And that's what you want this time of the year. We've talked about it several times. Our January was just absolutely grueling. The sun is shining a little bit in February, and we're taking advantage of it based on the hard work we did in January.
Joni, I want to ask you about trusting the process, right? Like when you have hiccups, it becomes hard. But then when you have proof and concept, how much, I don't want to say easier, but how does that help your message moving forward?
It helps tremendously. Nothing is better as a leader, a teacher, a coach, a trainer, when you say something and you predict something and then it comes true, right? The buy-in. They were already bought in. I'm not going to say they bought in after the win. They were bought in when we were getting our butts kicked. But it helps tremendously. And more than anything, I'm just happy that they got a reward for their work.
Well, it's got to feel good, too, to see some smiles after a game, after that tough stretch. Just from a coaching perspective, seeing happiness going along with basketball goes a long way.
It does. And you know what the smiles were from? They were smiling for their teammates, not for what they did. The way the bench erupted at the 3 Chaney made going into the fourth quarter, the way the bench erupted when Nye broke down the defense and got a pass to Jordan for a 3-ball in the corner, the block that Lauren Ware has, the excitement comes from them seeing their teammates have success. And that's when you know you're doing things the right way.
Was there something tactically done after the first quarter to kind of limit what Auburn was doing? I know they hit a bunch of threes in the first quarter.
Yeah, no. Auburn is not known for shooting the 3. They are 21% as a team from the 3-point line. They rely very heavily on getting to the paint, whether that's up from offensive rebounds, in transition off of their defense. Their defense is really elite, so they rely on getting steals to ignite their offense. Or penetration. They've got a great group of guards who are just elite at getting to the rim. So our game plan was to let them shoot the 3. And credit Auburn, they came out and they did. We just didn't think they could sustain it, and they could not.
How hard is that when you know that that's not in a team's DNA? So you're going to let them keep doing it, but sometimes they're going to hit shots, right? It's part of playing the game of basketball.
It is, and it's something that we just show our players before it ever happens. So then when it does start happening, there's not doubt that creeps into their mind. And so it's just protecting our minds from the doubt. And so we showed them the percentages, like, hey, guys, this is where they are. Even if they come out and hit a couple, the facts say, the analytics say, the stats say, the numbers say, this is it. And so obviously if they would have continued, we would have made some adjustments. We did have a plan B. We did not have to use it, thankfully.
You've told us on this show before that, Fats and Nye do so well, but they needed people around them doing well. And you're starting to see that. Talk to me a little bit about Janae and how she played.
I thought she had a great floor game. Hits a couple threes, drives, gets to the rim, rebounded really well, guarded one of their best guards. Her floor game was really, really good. When her and that group of wings, I put them all together, Janae, Jordan Webster, Lamaya Hilton, and Celeste Blow, the 4 of them just really put pressure on the opponent because all 4 of them could start anywhere. All 4 of them could start. And so for us to be able to sub 2 in and 2 in at a time, just all night long with fresh legs, they just continue to put pressure on the opponents, and they're playing well together as a unit. I thought all of them, Jordan, Delise, and Lamaya all had great floor games on Sunday.
How did you feel about the movement of the ball movement?
It had great energy, good pop. I thought we shared the ball really well. That is reflected in our assist number, 20 assists, I believe, on 29 attempts. I mean, that's incredible. And so, again, things are moving in the right direction, but they're making the reads sooner, quicker, and faster, which is what you want to see.
I do want to go back to Fats and Nye for a moment. Look, we talk about them every week, but just another double-double. I mean, just every week, they just come and bring it.
Oh, they do. And I want to also re-recognize them before the game. Fats scored her 1,000 point. Nye got recognized earlier for having 500 assists. And then she got recognized this past Sunday, for reaching 2,000 points and 400 steals. The 400 steals puts her in the NCAA record book. There's only 30 players in the country ever in the history of women's basketball who's done that. And so that puts her in the record books. And so that speaks for itself to the value they have. I think what we've really talked to Fats a ton about is stay on the floor. I mean, you're a walking double-double. You had 10 and 12 against South Carolina and played 10 minutes. And so you've got to understand how important it is for you to stay on the floor and not get in foul trouble. And she's done that in the last couple of games since South Carolina, and it's reflected in the box score.
Lauren Ware said afterwards that you all need wins to make the tournament. How do you balance that urgency of the moment with keeping your team focused on not pressing?
Yeah, I think for us, it is about being honest and truthful and then taking it one game at a time. And so before we went into last week, so after the Alabama game, before the Kentucky-Auburn stretch, we put our standings up where we were in the league, who we had left to play, where those people were relative to us, who they had left to play, and we predicted outcomes. And we have several different outcomes that we predicted based on that. And so this group is mature enough to understand the whole picture and then go back and take it one day at a time. And so that's what we're doing. But they are all very aware of what we need to do, what the teams that we have left remaining need to do, or what we need to do when we play against them, and how that affects the overall picture.
Joni, before I let you go, some thoughts on Tennessee as you head there soon?
Yeah, a top 25 program, obviously historic, great tradition, great team up and down. They have 5 starters that average double figures. They're coming off a tough loss against Texas. They've lost 2 out of their last 3, lost to South Carolina, beat Missouri, lost to Texas. They've got to defend home court. They've got a tough remaining schedule, so they're looking at our game like a game they have to have at home. So we're going into a hostile environment against a really, really good team that's got their backs against the wall, and that's the most important thing for our team to understand before we talk about anything else related to Tennessee. They're going to come out fighting and scratching and clawing, and so we have to have that same grit, that same toughness, that competitive stamina and edge. As it relates to basketball, they're a team that think Nolan Richardson back in the day. They want to press you for 40 minutes. They want to run and shoot threes or get to the paint for layups. And so we've got to have great mental toughness and mental stamina, take care of the basketball. And our challenge is we've got to protect the paint and also guard the three-point line at the same time because they shoot it really well and they also are very athletic and can get by you off the bounce.
That is the great Joni Taylor. Joni, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Joni Taylor there on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with some more and got some football thoughts to get into. Right now, let me talk to you about Heritage Films Preserving Family Stories. Chance McClain, he's not just a filmmaker. He's a storyteller. He's got an Aggie heart. He started his collegiate days at the school down the road. He's like, nah, that ain't for me, guys. But he's done everything from Broadway to red carpets in L.A. He started a radio station that I did some work at for a while. He's now capturing family stories, family businesses stories, family ranch stories. His team's got an incredible track record of telling meaningful family narratives. And he isn't using a handy cam. We're talking about this is like professional cinematic equipment that makes you forget that they're even filming. And then when you watch the product afterwards, you're going to be blown away with how great it is. Whether you're on a tractor or in a studio, he captures the authentic heart of your story. A premium service that delivers an incredible lasting memory. If you want to preserve your family's story, visit yourheritagefilm.com or call them up 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's more than a business. It's a relationship built on trust and storytelling. It is Heritage Films. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. thanks to their partnership with United and Event Pipe. Whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with Event Pipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, Event Pipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with Event Pipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. A lot of arguing going on the YouTube page, trying to figure out the why behind it, whatever's. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We're going to reset that topic quickly because you got some clarification on Coach Elko's contract.
So Richard sent me a long text and then came in here and explained it to me. It's just what's called a FOIA request where of any public government official can just be requested for the details of their...
Get more details on it.
Of whatever information they request, but for specifically this contract they requested, and finally the details just came out. It's not like as far as we know, some huge, juicy news dropped about it. It's just the details of what Elko is getting paid, how the structure of the contract is, different things involved in that.
Yeah. He deserved the contract extension. It's the way the game is played today. And, hopefully that means this upcoming year, they do exactly what they did last year, at least get into the playoffs, and we go a step further. Let's find out what's on TexAgs today.
On TexAgs today, we have Cade Bickham's Ball 5 article. He dropped a great article about some baseball. And then later we have so much going on. If you're not a subscriber, become one as soon as you can, because later today we have Aggie softball Taylor Pinnell, one of our pitchers. She's doing an NIL interview with us. We have Bucky's presser. We have Joni's presser. We have Trisha Ford's presser. We will also have baseball live and post-game coverage. We'll have basketball pregame content. That'll be advances from OB and Tom Schuberth. We'll also have a long-form recruiting article from Jason Howell or Bronny.
Yep, good stuff. Go become a premium subscriber. You won't regret it. All right, so let's go back to yesterday's press conference. And when you listen to Coach Elko talk, there's little tidbits from there that kind of just give you a little insight, like just dig deeper into what he's saying. And we're going to try to kind of break down some of that. But he talked about transfers, coaches hired, positions addressed. And when you listen to what he's saying, there's a story underneath all of it. So what stands out most to me, and there's a couple different things, but one of the things that stood out to me is the NFL standard, something we've been talking about, with Billy for over a year. But, draft production as a program continues to hopefully move north. And when you think about it, I'm quoting here from what he said. He goes, this has to be every year. We see a path to double-digit draft picks next year. They see a path to it. Now, he did clarify he's not sure where that is yet, but he sees a path on how that can happen, right? So it's a benchmark that he has said publicly of what this program aspires to be. And context matters. We're not just talking about upcoming draft cycle. What he is saying is this has got to be a consistent NFL draft production program that separates other programs. And when you look at the teams that have, that's why the 13 number this year is so striking to me, because it's the most in college football. You could say, well, what did they do with that? Well, they went 11-2. They lost to a hot team in Miami who had the defense to beat you. And, you didn't play your best at the end. Miami got hot at the end. But if the offensive line develops the way we think it will with the young players and the players that they brought over, I think you can start seeing those numbers get closer to that point, right? And I think that's the point of everything that he's saying is it's not that it's already there, but that production, that destination starts now, and you bring in the type of talent that under your tutelage, which he's already proven he has done over the last 2 years, and you put an emphasis in development, you will continue to get there. Another thing to think about is, the performance indicators from these guys. If you look at what they did last year, he even mentioned it in the press conference that there's recruiting rankings and there's this and that. That doesn't mean anything until you prove it on the field, right? So you can be the number one transfer portal target. You could be the 50th. You could be Cassius Howell, who I don't think there was a lot of fanfare about him when he transferred to Texas A&M, not only locally, around the country. People weren't talking about him. So I think that's when we think about the 2026 season, think about these next few months when spring ball starts next month and the development process of how they build that foundation to, again, being the double-digit number into the NFL draft or to the combine isn't like, it's kind of like a mythical number with you got to win at least 11 games for A&M basketball to get into the, it's a benchmark number to shoot for. Doesn't mean anything, but I think when you look at the analytics and the probability of what that means for your program, the closer. And basically, another thing you have to think about is when you're building a roster, it obviously starts with the offensive line. It starts with your quarterback play and your offensive line. If you feel good with your quarterback, and I think A&M feels really good about Marcel Reed. We've already discussed the things he's got to get better at, and Elko talked about the urgency factor, right? And the consistency factor. But the offensive line has got to protect him. Those three pieces, right? Call it the Trinity, if you will. The offensive line, the quarterback, and the running game. If the offensive line is not elite in protecting Marcel, it doesn't matter if it's Marcel, it doesn't matter if it's Arch Manning, it doesn't matter who it is, right? The numbers are going to suffer. Look at Arch earlier in the season when the offensive line was trying to gel in what he did, into the end of the year when they got much better. Look at Marcel the same way. When he has time, look, he's got to get more accurate. He's got to throw less interceptions. Of course, that's all part of it. But then you throw in the run game. They're all connected. They're all connected pieces. So for them to make another SEC championship run, I know they didn't make it this year, but they made a run for it. For them to be in the conversation for the playoffs, to make the playoffs, all those things have to be a part of it. I thought that what he said about Wilkin Formby, he goes, I think Wilkin Formby is a right tackle. There's a lot of Trey Zune in him. I like that. That's a very specific comp and very intentional one when you think about it. Zune is a guy who came in, spent a lot of time at A&M, developed and became a legitimate NFL prospect. And for Wilkin Formby to get that kind of love, especially with this coaching staff and what they can do, because you look at what they just did in this upcoming NFL draft, how many guys from that line are going to be there? So to me, that's very exciting. Tyree Adams, obviously, you add Cohen Eccles. And he spoke very highly of Cohen Eccles. So I think that piece of what we're talking about the offensive line, is a huge one. Another thing that he talked about was Holman Wiggins. And, that could have a very big impact on what this team does in 2026. Because I wasn't one that did not think Colin Klein became a worse offensive coordinator when he was talking to Kansas State, whenever that started. I don't know. I don't know, right? But the production did dip afterwards. That part we do know, right? So I'm not going to blame it on him talking to somebody else. I think he tried just as hard. Maybe he was a little bit distracted. Maybe the team was not as focused after the LSU win as OB talked about. But with Holman Wiggins being the offensive coordinator, I think it was an elevation that was natural and it made sense because of what he has proven in his career, what he's proven with those wide receivers, and his relationships in that wide receiver room and in that offense overall. Wiggins already in the building. Marcel's got a great relationship with him. The system really isn't changing. The language isn't changing. And for a quarterback heading into maybe his most defining moment as an Aggie quarterback, that is very valuable, that you don't have to relearn another system when you're already having to replace your offensive line. So to me, I think something tells me it might be a little bit more of an exciting offense, even though it looks the same. I think it's going to be really good. I think the way Holman Wiggins calls plays is still a TBD, but I do believe that'll go a long way. So his addition is going to me, should bring out some of the more positives of this offense. What are we going to see from Terry Bussey? What are we going to see from ABR? Right? What are we going to see from Mario Craver? Can we get the healthy Mario Craver we had in the beginning of the season, and Zay Horton, which, by the way, I believe is coming into studio tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to us talking to him. So there's obviously the NFL standard that the Aggies have to continue to aspire for, the structural roster pieces that they think that they did a very good job at addressing this offseason in the portal. And like what Coach Elko said, it's not like going to the groceries. You just get whatever you want, right? Like there's a specific set of groceries that can negotiate, right? Carrots don't have to go with you. That's the worst comparison ever. But you understand my point. Like it's a 2, 3, 4-way street because they've got agents, they got family. It's just like, so like, it's not like you just go into the portal grocery store and get every piece that you want. You try your darndest to get all of that. So great offseason moves, a great culture. Holman Wiggins giving maybe a little bit more creativity to the offense, more play calling. Again, the big questions are, does your running game take and I focus mostly on the offense of this segment, but does your running game take a major step in the right direction? Because it was good, but not good enough, especially at the end. Does your offensive line take a step back, 5 steps back, all of it? And where does Marcel Reed go? If he has the kind of growth he had from year 1 to year 2, half of year 1 to year 2, then we're talking about, again, a quarterback that hopefully we're talking about in November as maybe being a Heisman contender. So the consistency and the urgency, all those things start internally in that office, in Coach Elko's office, trickle down to the practices, to the meetings, and hopefully to the field. All right, if you want to talk about Coach Elko on the other side, you can do it. 979-693-1150. That is the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. You can text us as well. 979-693-1150. That is Catalyst, Pure Performance Energy Hotline. Did you or someone you know graduate from A&M within the last 12 years? And are you leading by example in business and in service? Then the Association of Former Students would like to invite you to nominate yourself or someone that you know for the 12 Under 12 Award. Each year, the association recognizes a dozen Aggies who have graduated within the last 12 years for their business accomplishments, civic or military service, philanthropic efforts, and outstanding representation of A&M's core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service. Previous year honorees have been included in leaders in business, in higher education, architects, petroleum engineers, nonprofit execs, physicians, veterans, and members of the U.S. Armed Forces. 2026 nominations close on Saturday, February 28th, so be sure to submit your nomination very soon. To learn more about the recognition and submit a nomination, visit tx.ag/12under12 nominations. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Hey, everybody, we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Cooper Patterson. What's up, Coop?
David, did you watch the NBA All-Star game? You didn't watch it?
Okay, I actually talked to Nick about this yesterday in Olin. They did 3 teams.
3 teams.
That's not an NBA All-Star game.
How'd your savior LeBron do, Cooper?
He is not my savior. He shouldn't have even been in the All-Star game.
You're a Harden guy.
I'm a Harden guy. I think LeBron's the GOAT, but he's not my favorite player, even close.
All right. So was it entertaining if you're a basketball guy?
It actually was the first time I've watched it in probably 4 years.
You're not a real fan.
And it was extremely entertaining. And unlike, I've seen clips of all the other All-Star games, this one was different than all of them. And
yeah, because it was a game. It was a gimmick. If you need a gimmick for people to watch your show, your gimmicks or your show sucks.
I was trying to quickly come up with a gimmick that you do, but I
have gimmicks. I do.
I couldn't come up with one. But
Nick, what gimmick?
I was about to say, is OB our gimmick?
My OBR?
No, I said, is OB our gimmick?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, probably, yeah.
But our gimmick is, a nationally respected columnist, writer, with long hair.
Exactly. Well, I want to say the young guys really brought it, and I hate Victor Wembanyama because I'm a Rockets fan. I have to,
right.
And I want to.
But he brought it.
He brought it and was intense, and Anthony Edwards was saying that he actually played hard because Wemby played hard, and it actually made it like real basketball games. And then that led to the old guys really trying. And Kawhi Leonard.
There was an old team?
So they had, here's the format for those that didn't watch. They had 3 teams.
By the way, hold on. Do you hear that? You hear it, right, Nick? That's America
Everyone's
changing
switching
the
the channel,
oh
yeah.
Gosh. You know my joke.
I knew where he was going with that,
you know,
Cooper.
You know who taught me that?
I don't.
My old co-host, Ken Hoffman. Whenever we'd go on a bit, he would love to talk about wrestling. He passed away, and I love Ken Hoffy. But whenever we'd do a wrestling bit, because he loved talking wrestling and I didn't, or puppy dogs or ice cream, because that's what he wrote about in the Chronicle. He goes, you hear that? That's America changing the station. So thank you.
Good one, Cooper.
They had it. I'm going to get to it anyways. They've already changed the channel, so we can talk about whatever we want, really. They had a young American team of like kind of younger guys, an older American team with like Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, all them. And then they had a team world. And then they all played each other in kind of a round-robin style. And the young American guys actually ended up winning it. But it turned into real...
Is Anthony Edwards considered a young guy?
Yes, he was on the young team.
But he's been in the league for like 6 years, right?
Yeah, but like when LeBron's on the old team, and that's who you consider old, and ends up on the younger side of things.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it ended up being real basketball.
How did Luka play?
I don't know if he even touched the floor.
Really?
I saw like him and Jokic, I don't think they touched the floor. Shingun got in a little bit. It was kind of the same guys.
Did you see your boy KD talking smack about the DMs?
Yeah, that was in my little notes. I didn't know if we wanted to bring that up. It's a crazy.
Do you know about this, Nick?
I don't know.
Kevin Durant's got a burner account, apparently. I don't know how much of it is true or not, but they think that they've proven that he's got this burner account because they even, on a group chat, they acknowledge that it's Kevin Durant, where he's talking trash about all his former teammates and his current teammates, Şengün being one of them.
Yeah, he was saying crazy things. One thing he did do was defend James Harden through and through throughout the DMs. We don't need to get into that, though, but he was high on James Harden.
So what I find interesting is the thing he said about Şengün was about his defense, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, world-known defensive stopper, talking about somebody else's defense.
He honestly used to be good at defense. He
had like a little weekend. He had the NBA Finals with the Warriors. He played a little bit of defense. That's about it.
He was decent on the Thunder. He wasn't guarding the best player on the other team, but he could play some defense.
Thanks for losing the audience. Appreciate you, buddy. All right. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we'll talk to somebody who actually knows a thing about basketball, Justin Lanham. I'm sure Justin Lanham didn't watch the NBA All-Star game. I wish I watched it. I used to love it. It was my thing back in the day.
It's good again.
It's not.
It's
Stop.
good.
Nobody on social media that's above 31 thought it was good. We'll come back with Justin Lanham, talk college basketball, America, on TexAgs. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I don't know if we have Justin Lanham. Oh, we do have Justin Lanham. Let's go to the Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Talk to our buddy, JL. Never called him that before, but it felt appropriate. Justin Lanham, is he on the phone? Is that where he is? Oh, my bad. We'll go to the Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Mr. Lanham, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. What's new in your world?
Man, just a little bit of work, a little bit of taking care of a 7-month-old. So, that's pretty much what we got going on in my life right now.
Buddy, what's the issue with our basketball team?
Man, look, I listened to Bucky talk, with you guys yesterday. I've listened to him at the press conference, and it's good whenever you can agree with kind of what the head coach is saying. And I agree that last game, like, you saw some heavy legs. I think a key indicator of that is the nickel kid for Vanderbilt. He kept getting free. And I think A&M's done a pretty good job in transition defense. Even when they're pressing, they find shooters. And in the game against Vanderbilt, they just couldn't find shooters. Just felt like they were always a step behind. I know Darby does a great job with conditioning with those guys, but, when you have a late game on Wednesday, you're playing one of the first games on Saturday morning, you got to understand that, some dead legs and some tired legs are going to play a factor in that. And so I think they did. And I'm not saying that that's all, for this 5-game stretch. I think the competition obviously amped up a little bit. You're playing some tough teams and some road environments. Obviously, you'd like to get that midweek game against Missouri. So some good things are still happening. Obviously, that first half against Missouri, the Ags shot really well, but it's just, again, the Vanderbilt thing I think is going to stick out. I think losing the midweek game against Missouri, and then obviously too that Alabama game, you wish you could have. So to go 1-4 in that stretch, you don't love it. We could have two of those games and possibly even 3 of those games, but here we are.
Talking to Justin Lanham here on TexAgs Live. Justin, when you get tired legs, and you've played, you've coached, does it come back in that same season? Can you is it a break? Is it can you kind of get through that?
Yeah, 100%. I think the technology and all the things with recovery, all the things that teams have now that they didn't even have, 5-10 years ago. I mean, absolutely. You're getting the cryo, you're getting the cold tub, you're getting all the things. So I definitely think those guys are going to be re-energized and ready to go. Obviously, I heard Bucky talk about, his practice plan. That's what you're thinking about as a coach. Like, you're thinking about, how can we get these guys, their legs fresh again? And so you're thinking about scaling back your practice plan. You're thinking about maybe, hey, normally we go an hour and a half, 2 hours. Let's scale that back to 45 minutes to an hour. We're going good on good right now. Maybe we're just going through some walkthrough stuff. Maybe a little bit more film is needed. So I definitely think you can. There's 100% you can. You scale back a little bit in the weight rooms, some things like that. So I definitely think we're going to see a different team show up against Ole Miss.
Talking about Justin Lanham here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Marcus Hill, though, we've kind of gone on the sad part of the season. Let's at least turn it a little bit more positive for a moment. Marcus Hill has been hot. What have you seen from Marcus, and what do you think about the recent explosion from him offensively, at least?
Man, his acrobatic finishing around the rim is absolutely insane. It's crazy. It just feels like every time he's around the basket, he's scoring it. He finds a way to get to the basket. He's physical. He gets into other guys' bodies and then finishes, high off the glass. And so, but every time you see him, it just feels like he's making some circus shot. But it's not just throwing it up there with a prayer. You almost feel like it's going to go in every time. And so he's done such a good job with that. Whenever I was watching him coming from North Carolina State, I thought he was a really, really good passer, and I still think he is. But he's found a way, a knack to get to the basket, and so he's helping this team out a lot. And then what that does in return is, that opens up the outside. You get to the basket, you put a lot of pressure on the defense, and then you have guys sitting there that hopefully can knock down shots on the outside. And if I could say anything, that's what this team needs to get back to, is just sharing the ball and finding a way to knock it down from outside.
All right, so at different parts of this year, I would tell you their number 2 player would have been Rylan Griffin, Ruben Dominguez. Kind of depends. Right now, Marcus Hill is in that role. Do you think that's a good thing, or no, we need a consistent 3-punch?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts, David. I think when you do different guys stepping up from time to time, I think those scouts are harder to figure out. Teams can see, okay, this guy can step up, this guy can hurt you in this way. Rylan can hurt you from outside. Marcus Hill gets to the basket. You know that you have the strong presence of AG inside every game. You know what you're going to get from him. I think as a coach, you probably want a little bit more consistency of where production's coming from, especially with Ruben, especially when you had that early on in the season. And here as of late, they just haven't been able to find ways to get him clean shots. So I definitely think as a head coach, you want the consistency. But whenever a guy steps up in key moments and, you don't know that you're going to get that production from him, and then all of a sudden you do, I think that's a positive too. So, and obviously that's been Marcus as of late.
How do they get Rylan going again?
Yeah, I think the offense has gotten a little bit stagnant. I think at times, they haven't been getting as many stops, and so they've been having to get into a little bit more half-court offense. There hasn't, we talked earlier on in the year, David, about how this offense was really free-flowing, and here lately it's kind of been stagnant. It's been a lot more half-court offense, a little bit more standing around than you would like to see. And so obviously that starts with getting a stop, getting in transition, and playing fast. This team has to get back to playing fast. That's their identity. That's who they are. That's what's found them some success this year early on in the season, and so they've got to get back to that. And I don't know what it is. It just seems to be that Rylan and Ruben just cannot find as many clean opportunities to get shots off, and there's got to be some things to get that done, whether that be screening. I think early on in the Missouri game, there was a couple of times where AG and Zach found a little high-low. We didn't score at the rim. We kicked it out to the outside and got some clean looks. So putting pressure on the basket, whether that be from a post entry, whether that be from attacking the basket and then playing outside, but they've just got to find ways to get cleaner looks from outside right now.
Yeah, I agree. AG, he's been the most consistent player, and he has not played his best the last few games. I'd say the Florida game was kind of understood with that size. The Missouri game, he got going in the second half, and then Vandy, he didn't obviously have one of his better games.
Yeah, again, I think what's going to help AG is, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but knocking down shots from outside, right? That opens up the inside, and then when you have the inside present, that opens up the outside, and so. To me, obviously, it goes hand in hand. You kind of help each other out. The guards help the bigs help the guards. And when you have that, the floor just seems so much bigger. Look, AG, I've mentioned this multiple times, AG is a great passer. And so for AG to affect the game, he doesn't have to always be scoring. He can get the ball inside and get touches inside and then fan it to the outside. I think that's, whenever he becomes really effective. And, AG's had something that you got to think about, too, that could be possibly slowing his offensive production down, is that he's having to play really, really hard on the defensive end with all those big guys from Florida. And, you got some size from Missouri, and so you got to think that that's wearing him down. And so when you're having to play really, really hard on both sides of the floor, you're pressing, you're having to guard bigs that are fighting for position inside, that wears you down. And so offensively, you're probably going to see a little bit slower production there as well.
Talking to Justin Lanham. Justin, how much is hitting shots or not hitting shots affecting their defense and being able to press more because they haven't shot as well as they have before? When they're knocking down threes, how much does that, when they're not knocking down threes, how much does that affect the press?
Oh, it affects it a ton. You don't have the time to set it up, right? Like, you have to worry about guys getting out, running in transition. So you're kind of already on the defensive. You're already thinking about sprinting back instead of sprinting forward to press. When you see that ball go through the net, you have a little bit of time, right? Those guys that a lot of these teams take some time to get the ball out of the net and throw it in to not start that 5-second clock of getting the ball in. And so it affects it a ton. You're already, if you miss a shot, you're already thinking run in transition, get back, because you don't know if they have a pitch ahead guy or what. So you're already thinking to get back. Versus if that ball goes to the net, you're already thinking, okay, you already know ahead of time, this is what we're doing. I can sprint forward. I can put pressure on the defense. And so, look, talking about knocking down shots, like I think they just have to get some confidence and just see the ball go in, right? To me, that's always what it's been about with shooters is just the confidence piece of it. It's not, obviously, yes, you have to get clean looks. There has to be some rhythm. But for the most part, if they can just get some confidence, just see the ball, keep going in, and especially for a guy like Ruben, really need to see him have a game where he can get 4 or 5 threes going in the basket, and I think that's going to do a lot for the rest of this season. As we know, the next 6 games are crucial for talking about March Madness.
Yeah, Justin, what I was thinking to myself was maybe we're being a prisoner of the moment. Yes, they've lost their last 4, and that's certainly a problem. They didn't look good in the Vandy game. They didn't look good in the Florida game. But they looked good in the Missouri game. It could have been better. They didn't win it, right? Alabama could have been better. They win it. I feel like it's how they come out against Ole Miss, to me, will tell me if this team, if it's mental or if this is who they really are at this point of the season. Like, I think this Ole Miss game could be the biggest indicator of what's still ahead.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Like, Ole Miss is a team that if you play them 100 times, you should probably win 90 of them. Like, that's how I feel about it. I think that this is going to set the tone for the rest of the season. You think of, almost kind of like 6 games at a time in conference play. And so these last 6 are crucial, but it starts with getting a win in February, getting a win against an Ole Miss team that hasn't had a ton of success lately. And so that can also work in 2 different ways. This could be a motivated Ole Miss team to prove like, hey, we're going to continue to fight, or this could be a dejected Ole Miss team that comes in and doesn't have any fight in them. But I can promise you one thing, if you know anything about Chris Beard, that's not going to happen. You're not going to see a dejected Ole Miss team. Like, they're going to come out and fight no matter what. So I think this is going to start the run. You got OU after that, another very winnable game. And then obviously within the rest of these games, you got some tough ones with Arkansas and Kentucky. And then let's not, I hate to say it, but Texas is playing some decent basketball right now too. So you've got some really tough ones still out there to get in the win column.
Justin, I know we talked about the lack of hitting threes and just the shooting percentage has been down, but something that I also found interesting was A&M only had 6 fast break points against Vanderbilt. And for this team, we think about them as a 3-point team, but to me, that number's got to be significantly higher because it opens up the 3-ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also, too, means that you're probably getting stops, right? And turnovers, too. Like, I don't know the statistics, David, off the top of my head, but just from the visual side of it, I would imagine that it doesn't seem like we're turning teams over as much and getting live ball turnovers in transition. Live ball turnovers are huge to getting just easy buckets at the rim, right? And so, again, when you're able to put pressure on the rim, I know I probably sound like a broken record, but when you're able to put pressure on the rim, it just opens up everything else. And again, that starts with the defensive end, that starts with getting steals, that starts with pressuring. And, I think people are going to point back to the Vanderbilt game, and you didn't see that a ton. And I think we can all say, like, yeah, they had some dead legs. They were a little tired. They did not look like the usual team. I came on here, David, and told you that 99% of the time I feel like A&M's been the aggressor in games, and they just did not seem like the aggressor against Vanderbilt.
Justin, they had 6 steals against Vandy, but only forced 9 turnovers. When this team is winning games, I believe it's closer to 11, 12, 13 turnovers a game that they're forcing.
Yeah, 100%. And that goes back to the little things. Like when you have dead legs, like I always look at activity away from the ball. Like, how are guys moving? Are they stagnant? Are they stand still? Are they trying to duck in and help? Or what are they doing off of the ball? Like anybody, even if you have dead legs, if you're guarding the ball, that's your priority. You're probably going to look a little bit more engaged. But to me, it's the off-ball stuff. Like, what are you doing? Are you getting in the passing lanes? Are you getting deflections? I remember whenever I was a student assistant with the basketball team at A&M, I remember Kyle Keller always 2 things that he had me track, and it was paint touches and deflections. Those were 2 things that it was kind of a key indicator whether we were being aggressive on both ends of the floor. If you're getting paint touches, that means that you're being aggressive, you're attacking the rim. And then if you're getting deflections, even if you're not getting steals every time and not turning them over, if you're getting deflections, that means you're in the passing lanes. That means you're being aggressive defensively. And I think that's a key stat. And I'd like to see how many deflections there were. I'd like to see how many paint touches there were. And a lot of times that's going to be a key tell of whether you're being aggressive or not.
What about, look, I know they had more points in the paint than Vanderbilt, but I still don't think they're attacking the rim enough. And that is being reflected in the amount of fouls called. What do you think about that? Am I off base here? Do you think they attack the rim enough? What about that portion of their offense?
No, 100%. I'm not a big, and I know you're not. I'm not saying that you're saying this. I'm just saying for me, I'm not a big blame the officials because they're not calling calls or making calls. I think you have to be the one that makes them make the calls, right? So you have to be the aggressor, and I think that's what you're saying is, if you're not attacking the rim enough, if you're not putting pressure on them, like early on in the season, like Ja'Carri Lane, he's so good at attacking the rim and attacking the basket. I don't feel like we've seen that as much lately. Marcus Hill has kind of taken over that. He's gotten to the rim a little bit more, gotten some fouls, drawn some fouls, done some things like that. But it's got to continue to be that. Look, Reuben is not going to be your guy that's going to attack the basket every time. Rylan is not going to be your guy that attacks the basket all the time. Pop Isaacs can be sometimes, but he would also like to sit on the three-point line and knock down shots from outside. So with that being said, you've got to have guys like AG, Zach. You've got to have Marcus Hill. You've got to have Ja'Carri Lane. You've got to have all those guys really putting pressure on the rim, attacking the basket, and making the officials make those calls. Like, we can't, at the end of games, say, the foul count was 27-15. Well, whose fault was that? Let's go back and look, too. Like, were we attacking the basket? Were we making them have to blow the whistle? That's always what I go back to. I hate to just always blame the officials. I want to put a little bit back on us of, hey, let's be the aggressor.
How do they beat Ole Miss?
Man, I think just getting back to really putting a ton of pressure on them in the full court, making them turn the ball over, making them play fast. I don't really feel like we've seen a really sped up game in a while. And I think part of that obviously was the Florida game and the Missouri game of, they had bigs, and so they want to slow it down. They want to create space in the lane and get the ball inside, and so they slowed it down. But I think it's back to A&M on, hey, got to speed teams up, got to make them play fast, because in return, that's going to make A&M play fast offensively. And David, I want to say one thing too, like for people, and I know probably people aren't looking that far back at the Florida game, but I don't think A&M played all that bad in the Florida game. And some people are going to think I'm crazy for saying that, but they just couldn't hit shots. They had look after look after look. They had open shots, and in the first half to only still be down what you were down and not hitting shots. That to me tells, like, hey, they're still in the game. They just couldn't hit shots. So with all that being said, you look at the Tennessee game, you look at the Alabama game, you look at the Missouri game, you look at the Florida game. I know that's an outlier, but you look at that and realize that they just weren't hitting shots. And we're really not out of this thing, right? I don't feel like you can feel that dejected after this stretch whenever you know how close those games were. So all in all, I'm just saying I hope everybody's staying positive, because I still think this is a team that has a ton of life and a ton of fight in them left.
So you still see a path to the tournament?
Absolutely. Do I think that, Ole Miss and OU have to be wins? Absolutely. If you don't win one of those, then yeah, you're going to have to go get an Arkansas or Kentucky to get another notch on your belt. Because if you lose Arkansas and Kentucky, then, I think that you're going to have to win four games of the 6 that are left. But if you do lose one of those games to a team that you should beat, which includes a Texas team, then you're going to have to find a way to get a win against an Arkansas or a Kentucky.
Would you agree, if you were to rank the wins, of where those would come from? Ole Miss would be one. I think Oklahoma, which is going to be hard, by the way. All these are. I'm not saying any of them are. But if I were to say the most likely wins based on what I think the best version of A&M is, I would say not the version we saw this past game. I'm not saying that, but the best version of A&M. I think you beat Ole Miss. I think your next one would be Oklahoma. I think your next one would be at LSU, and then Texas. Would you agree with that order?
Absolutely. If anything, maybe I might flip like an Oklahoma and LSU, even though I know that those are away and home. But I might flip those. But I think I'm pretty, in agreement with you on that.
Justin, let's hope they get it done, man. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thanks, David. Appreciate you, man.
See you, man. That is Justin Lanham on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his time. Kind of unpack a little basketball stuff on the other side. I do want to get into some of the doom and gloom stuff that we don't have to necessarily get into when it comes to this team based on who they just played and trying to get back to some of the happier times. We'll do that on the other side. Right now, we're talking about Guarantee Bank and Trust. They've been around for a long time. Since 1913, they have over a century of experience serving Texans. They're one of the most respected community banks. And when you go banking, you want to be able to walk into a bank, talk to your banker, know your banker, have them take great care of you because they know your situation. You don't get that in today's world oftentimes, but you do get that at Guarantee Bank and Trust. They got 3 locations in Bryan College Station. You should take advantage of that. Their market president is Brandon Sears. He's an Aggie. He's fantastic. He leads the Bryan College Station team. But beyond Bryan College Station, they're all over the place. 33 offices. They've got, or branches, I should say, East Texas to DFW to Houston to Central Texas. And as I mentioned right here in Bryan College Station. They want to grow stronger for their community. Their commitment is to help Bryan College Station thrive alongside their Texas hometowns. And every decision is based on helping the community grow stronger. They are your Aggieland community bank, which means they're tailored to support by people who live and work here. Remember, they are a part of this community. They're helping this community, and they will take great care of you. Guarantee Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC. Check out the website. You can learn more about them at gnty.com. That is gnty.com. It is Guarantee Bank and Trust.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
Nick, I want that song back. The one you were playing, that little clown music, elevator clown music. Whatever that song was, I want to do this segment with that, but not as loud, not too loud, like loud enough that you can hear it, but not like louder than me talking. All right? You can do the Carlton with this one. Go to the what? Go ahead.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you.
Hey, why am I hearing?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was an ad.
Oh.
It's one of our ads that we
I
play.
want one of your elevator music songs for this segment.
I don't like when we play music during it.
Why?
It just doesn't sound good. I'm gonna get yelled at.
Yeah, but if you get yelled at, I don't. It's fine. That's just get me some elevator
Trying
music.
to set a good example for Reese here, but I got you. Here you go. Here you go.
All right.
I got you.
Let's take a
It's
look.
coming.
Let's go. Ready to go. This was kind of a sad song.
Yeah.
It's relaxing.
It might match Aggie basketball right now. You know, I feel like we need Luke Evangelist in on this segment because this song matches his energy right now. When you talk to Luke, it's like everything is just not good right now. You know, when the Aggie basketball team is what happened to the music?
Sorry, I got rid of it.
No. Segment. It's a short segment, okay?
You're killing me, dude. You're killing me. I'm
play
leaving
the
it. I'm leaving it.
song.
I'm leaving it.
All right, Cooper Patterson. What do you have for us in this segment?
Well, I want to ask.
See, even Cooper's talking like the song now. This is great.
I want to ask, how do we manage preseason expectations, which were a lot lower for Aggie basketball, if you remember correctly?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had some early SEC success. Yeah. And then we had some adversity in our last 4 games. How do we manage this roller coaster of a season as fans, as the media putting out content?
Yeah.
What do we do about all this?
Let the beat drop. I look at like expectations, like who cares what we thought in October? We've got more evidence now, right? Like, so the way I look at, and now we have a lot of evidence over the last 4 games. I don't look, sorry, I should match the music. I don't look at preseason expectations as something that you need to like die on a sword on, right? Like politics, sports, family dynamics as evidence. I'm more of an excitable person, so I gotta bring it back. As there's more evidence, you're allowed to evolve your opinion. If you go into a season wondering, you know, if you can hit threes and you hit a bunch of threes, you're allowed to change your expectations. So where I am right now, not the same expectations I had 10 days ago. A lot less, to be honest with you. Now I'm wondering, can they do enough to make the tournament? There was a stretch where my expectations were like, dude, we might get a 7 seed. Like, this is great. Maybe we'll go to Tampa and like go there. Or I think that's one of the sites. I think Oklahoma, Tampa, like that's what. And now I'm like, can they get to Dayton, right? Because your expectations change with the data points. So when Bucky was hired and we got that initial push with Mbako, and I was like, all right, this team maybe, you know, based on mythical paper and Luke Evangelist's, you know, stat pumping, we might make the tournament. Then the reality came like, they got to figure it out. This is a new team. Like, I'm not going to put those expectations on me. But when they started winning and Coach Bucky started talking about like, we're trying to make the tournament, we're trying to win, right? Like, and you started seeing it worked out, then yeah, my expectations did change. Right now, Here's my expectations. Can they win 4 out of 6? Can they? And I don't know the answer to that. I think they can, of course. They've proven that they can before. I think the big test is this week. What do they do against Ole Miss, and what do they do against Oklahoma? If they win those 2, I think they're going into the tournament. If they don't win those 2, doesn't mean they're out of it, but it can be hard. Where have your expectations changed, Cooper?
Well, I really didn't expect much going into this season. I think that I like to be a happy guy. I like to not have my whole mood change based on a loss, but oftentimes I fall into that. And so I try to remind myself of, this is a new coach. Last one hired in the SEC. Nick hates this. He hates this. The last one hired, or not in the SEC, in the Division I, right? With a whole new team, best player injured. And I try to remind myself, like, we shouldn't be this good.
Yeah.
But that's where, all the stuff about fans, like, does what we say as fans and as media about the team, does that change the players' attitudes? Reminds me of, like...
Do you think they're watching TexAgs?
I don't think the players are watching TexAgs. I think they're scrolling social media where maybe a lot of people...
Okay, now you're fired.
Opinions
you could have been like, of course they watch TexAgs.
Well, I'm just thinking, as a student, I didn't have time every single morning to wake up and listen to the show. I watched the content on YouTube mostly. I'd watch the rewind pretty much every day. Still wouldn't usually
We're talking about that. Let's go back to basketball.
Back to basketball. There we go. Got a little sidetracked. Music just put me in a really relaxing space, They're probably looking at narratives and things on social media, and that can completely change their mindset. Does that actually? But I feel like as grown men, it wouldn't change
Alabama
much.
has expectations every year when Nick Saban was there. Like, I'm not worried about what our you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean that rudely. I mean, like, you win, expectations go up. Your own, your families, your fans, right? Marcel had to deal with it when he was having his Heisman push, and then the end of the season happened. So, by the way, I wonder, like, I haven't thought this whole music thing through, because there's the YouTube audience and the premium chat audience that's like a visual audience. Like, I think the speakers are a little different. The whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Technically, like the way it sounds, but on AM radio, like that's like I wonder what Louis thinking right now. Like, is Louis?
He's not listening. Come on.
Somebody's reporting back to him. I know for a fact that people report back to Louis and others there and sales staff. That I do know. I get reports.
I think they would think it's a nice touch, especially this song. It's like Jungle Book kind of,
Yeah.
Like I didn't, I picked all this music out, but I don't listen to the whole song, It just kind of.
Someone in the chat.
I'm regretting this song now.
Someone in the chat asked, "Is it me or is break music still playing on YouTube?"
No, this is not break music. This is segment music. But
not
by the
just
way, people do report back. And I got a person who reports back to me
Caleb
that you
said
report
Louis
to them.
is listening, so
Who is?
I would like to know. Caleb, let us know what Louis thinks of the Jungle Book music.
Why do you call it the Jungle Book music?
I don't know what instrument that is.
It sounds like, like you're
probably guitar.
No, I think you're like in the lobby of going to see your psychologist or
I can't believe you let me play it this long.
Dun,
it's the whole
dun,
segment.
dun. When we come back on TexAgs Live,
I'm going to stop it now.
we're going to do an upbeat song. All right, we're just going to hit a break. I'm sorry, guys. And we're back. Flashing lights. What were you going to tell me about flashing lights?
We were just talking about him.
Oh, yeah,
and
we
they
were.
just came in.
Yeah, we were talking a little Kanye. Apparently, he's back in the circle of trust in the Zane community. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. So I threw out an idea, because this is me versus the open segment. I threw out this idea, and I didn't get a lot of buy-in from the staff. I'm going to try to compare. I'm going to try here. College football to pop music. Okay? When you think about pop music today, and I don't like, you guys know that there's a Latino singer that I like until he went to the Super Bowl. I still like him, by the way, but I didn't think he should have been at the Super Bowl. Whatever. Pop music isn't always, I think old heads don't like pop music, right? Am I right about that, Nick?
Sure. Yeah.
Old people don't like, Olin is
Correct.
not bumping
Katy
Taylor
Perry.
Swift. Katy Perry's not. Is she considered pop music still? She's old now, right?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter.
huge
I
right
couldn't
now.
tell you one song Sabrina Carpenter sings because I'm a 50-year-old male. Okay, I shouldn't. But soon to be 50. But like, where was I going with this? I had a point.
College football.
College football is pop music, but like old guys don't like pop music. Everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. Old guys complain more about college football than young guys. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. Because
you don't really complain about it, do you? Like you probably, it's fine.
I definitely probably care less. I probably complain less than you do, but I do see a lot of the problems with it.
Okay, so do you see a lot of the problems with pop music?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay, well, there we go. So you're an old head, though. My point is, pop music is selling record after record, and streaming numbers are crazy, bro. What's her name? The girl you just said?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter, bro. She's number one on Spotify for 13 weeks straight.
She's not one that the dudes are really listening to, I'll say that.
But my point is that there's definitely a younger group that is all in on pop music. Like, this is what real music is. Auto-tune and like AI helping me make an awesome song, right? Okay. And then old heads are against it. College football, now to get back on track. So just because numbers represent one thing does not necessarily mean that you're in a better place. I don't believe just because of sales. Like, for instance, let me think of who's a band. Okay, Whoop, there it is. All right? Every arena in the world, okay? Probably, like, I'm sure Nick's going to Google some numbers that'll tell me how amazing the numbers were on that song, okay? Or whatever song that is popular now is not better than the Beatles. I don't listen to the Rolling Stones. I apologize. But
why did you pick this song? It was released in 1993.
It was a pop song, though.
Okay, yes.
Okay. But it's not just because it may have been listened to more, I don't know if it was, is in more arenas than the Beatles, it's not better than the Beatles. That's my point, okay? So just because college football numbers, because of the playoffs, because it's better, doesn't mean it's actually better. I think there are parts of college football that are better. Right? I do like the playoffs. I knew I was going to like it because I always thought it was weird. We voted on a champion back in the day.
100% agree.
Right? Like that's stupid.
Decided on the field.
Yeah, decided with a freaking game. Like, I'm going to vote for Penn State. I'm going to vote for Miami. Bunch of AP writers doing that. Like, that's stupid to make your champion. So there are definitely parts that are better. Pop music, college football issues. The reason I'm bringing it all up is because our boy, our coach, Mike Elko, was on J.D. Piquel's show. I'm going to try to find his actual answer. I should have probably sent this to you to run it, but whatever. And Coach Elko calls for the NCAA to put in someone in charge of college football, because this is my point. Like, we need somebody in charge. Somebody has to be in charge of college football. And we've been saying that, but nobody's in charge. Like, we just keep saying it. Like, we need to do this. We need to do it. And you never do it. It's a $1.2 billion industry with not a singular voice in charge that is making decisions for the betterment of college football. Until we get that, I think we're all at risk of this thing not lasting like we want it to last. College football is not going to go away, right? I don't think it's going to go away.
No chance.
But could it? And I don't really believe this, but like, You don't know this about me, Cooper, but I used to be an NBA diehard, right? I know I'm a weirdo. I write down everything in my life. I'm a diary guy. I went from 1992 to 98 without missing a Rockets game. You have the clip? Okay, we're going to run that here in a second. I was a big NBA guy, but the NBA has lost a lot of older fans. And what I'm saying is college football 20 years from now going to lose a lot of older fans because of the direction that it's going. I don't think it's there, but I think there's something to it. Let's listen to Coach Elko with J.D. Pickell on 3.
With your educational background, I feel like you're the best person to ask this question to. If I said, Coach, there's just one thing you can tweak about college football to take a step towards fixing it, what would be that one thing that you're changing about the sport as it stands right now?
Put somebody in charge. I think it's a $1.2 billion industry with not a singular voice in charge of it, making decisions for the betterment of college football. And I think until we get that, we're going to continue to flounder with some of those areas. And so, what's best for the SEC isn't always what's best for the other conferences. What's best for the other conferences isn't always best for the SEC. And at some point, we're going to have somebody who's capable of making rules regarding the betterment of college football, enforcement of rules, and all of it. And again, until we get that, I think we're all at risk of this thing not lasting like we want it to last. And so that would be my piece.
All right, so not an NCAA president, right? Not Charlie Baker, but a college football specific czar, commissioner, that overlooks, and this is we're preaching to the choir here, right? We all agree with this, but don't allow college football to be like, look at the money we're generating, look at all we're doing, we're fine, we don't have to fix it. No, you got to fix it, guys. You do have to fix it, and I think Coach Elko's right, because you need somebody that's looking at the health of the sport, of the product that we watch, that we are so heavily invested in making sure that it doesn't again, if we would have called any of us during the Johnny Manziel era, go before that, the Aaron Glenn era, the Bucky Richardson era, and told them this is what college football looks like today, there would be certain things we'd be like, man, that's great. They did some really good things. They're doing now what? You can just leave anytime you want. You can go anywhere. I do like the one window. I think that was better. Coach Elko did address that yesterday in the press conference where he said it does limit some of the tampering. You're never going to get rid of all of the tampering, but it does limit some of it. But without a person in charge that looks at the health of the sport, that the direction that the sport is going, without and I think it can't be Greg Sankey. And I know there's a lot of people who hate Greg Sankey, but I'm just going to use him or Petiti or any of these. It can't be somebody who's already heavily invested with a commissioner. It almost has to be like what the Big 12 did with Brett Yormark, somebody out of the box that just cares about the sport, right? And I thought Saban was I know everyone was going to say Josh Pate. I know that. Josh would be great, but he's probably making more money doing the Josh Pate show, right? But somebody who cares about the sport, not just, unless it's an Aggie. Now, if it's R.C. Slocum, somebody like R.C., sign me up, right? I think R.C. cares about the growth of A&M, but also about the growth of the sport. Probably not R.C., but it's going to have to be somebody that's not tied too much to one university or to one conference. It's going to be somebody who cares about the sport. And they have to care about the sport or be an outsider who understands how to run a business. I think that's what they need. And this is a topic that won't go away until there is somebody. I just don't know how you find that somebody.
Throwing it out there, Kirk Herbstreit?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I don't know enough about him in his college football. I don't know if he's a broadcaster. I think it's got to be a CEO. Somebody who knows how to run a business.
Billy.
I like Billy's passion. Yeah, Billy be great. It can't be me. Wouldn't work out with my, kids' soccer schedule and my workouts in the morning. But somebody who cares about the growth of the sport, who at the end of the day this is what it looks like, and this is what we're doing. And what I was going to say is I think it's almost like in The Godfather when or in any mafia movie where the families get together, the opposing families, and like they actually have to get on the same page. In fact, I believe is it The Dark Knight? You got all these different types, when the joke. Okay, I probably shouldn't do a Batman, but you get all the people together, and you meet, and you got to get somebody from Alabama and A&M, but somebody from Miami and somebody from Penn State, and you all got to get in a room and say like, all right, guys, enough SEC, ACC talk. Let's figure out who the guy is that represents all of our values. All right, we can chew on that. See, I told you I could do a pop music to college football segment, and it kind of makes sense without losing all the viewers that we lost. I think it worked. With the NBA segment. All right, when we come back, 3-minute segment or so. It's TexAgs Live. I'm going to touch the sky. It's TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's close out with some text messages there on the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line, on the YouTube page, on the TexAgs Premium chat. Cooper Patterson, you're the one running the board. Tell me what people are saying.
Well, I sent this morning to get me some stuff because I wasn't well prepared. They didn't really help me out today too much, but I've got a little bit to work with.
Who's they?
The fans. They could do a little bit better of a job.
Okay, well, you didn't ask them to help you though.
I did in the chat. I said,
"Oh,
hey, I just found out I'm doing this. Send me some questions."
I don't call them fans. I call them friends.
That's probably better, especially like me.
Kurt, there's my guy on there, right? DW, like I'm just looking at the first ones I see. Those are all my guys.
Well, they like to argue with me a lot, so maybe.
Well, because you think LeBron's good.
Maybe we're not friends, or they're acquaintances. Maybe it's a better word. Well, Trey and Shiner, he had a great comment about Elko's contract. He says, "I applaud Elko for his new contract. He's doing it the right way, taking care of his assistants. He has goals to reach in order to maximize his money. It shows that he's hungry and not willing to take Jimbo money and not produce. The man is not going to rest until he gets it done."
I love it. Good comments. I'm seeing all these new accounts that keep showing up on our YouTube page. How do you guys have time to make 46 different accounts? Doesn't it take like 10 minutes to make an account?
I don't know how you have time to do this, or like the care and the energy. I don't know. David from Temple, he must have heard me complaining. He just got a great text. He said, get no one from Notre Dame to decide on college sports czar. Get people from schools in a conference. Herbie is a terrible choice. No one from broadcasting. Herbie is way too compromised from ESPN.
All right, let's think of somebody real quick in the last 2 minutes. Somebody that would make sense.
I wasn't, saying it has to be Herbstreit. That's just a name that came to mind. But I don't disagree with David there.
I'm trying to think. Who is somebody that would be like who's like a name we haven't heard? I just Googled like famous, semi-famous CEOs. I don't know any of these dudes. I know Jamie Dimon, whatever his name is, the JP Morgan guy, but I don't know anybody. There used to be like Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca, you guys don't know who that is from the car industry. He was like a tycoon, right? I wouldn't say Elon because then I'll have half the room half America come after me. Like I know he's a half and half. You either like him or you don't. But somebody who cares, who's creative.
Mark Zuckerberg. He's the best at stealing other people's ideas and making them better.
Wow. You came with
He just got us sued. Thanks, Cooper.
It's just what he's always done. He's the best at it. I applaud it. That's how you.
Whose idea is he going to steal then? I want that guy. I want the original guy.
Well, he just combines all the best ones.
You know what I appreciate about Zuckerberg? He does jiu-jitsu.
He does.
Yeah.
He's completely changed how he looks.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I do appreciate that about him. All right, guys. We're not going to figure it out today on this show, but I appreciate all the tap dancing we did. That was exciting.
We made some strides, definitely.
Did I?
We're one step closer.
Tomorrow on the program, Jason Howell. He doesn't know. He's probably listening. Who else? Kendall Rogers. Is that tomorrow? Yeah, that's tomorrow. We'll have Aggie baseball to talk about, right? We'll get you ready for the Ole Miss game. Who else do we have on Wednesdays? I know we got other people. You don't remember? Oh, Trisha Ford. That'll be great. We'll have Trisha Ford on the program. Pat Henry. Talking about strides. It's TexAgs Live. We'll see you mañana.